Hey there, everybody out there in the land of YouTube. Annette Dion here. I'm the host and the founder of the Psychic News Network. We're a pro-democracy channel. Woo, woo, woo. I got my Biden-Harris sweatshirt, established 2020. Go to the website. You can get one. They're not cheap, but they're worth it. I mean, democracy, you have to pay the price. You got to pay the piper for democracy. Anyway, how you all doing? I was here earlier with Kathy Beale. We did a pop-up. We do that once in a while just to catch you off guard because we don't want to make everything too predictable. So check that out, Spirit Talk Podcast, about a couple hours ago. It was not a long one. We try to keep those short. When you're a subscriber, hint, ding, ding, when you're a subscriber, when you hit the notification bell, when you're a subscriber, you get notified if we're doing, you get notified before PNN and everything. It was 40 minutes. It was not 40 minutes, Warren. I was looking at the time. Unless I read it wrong. Anyway, so it's Monday. It's the 26th. We're just coming off this full moon in Virgo. Kathy kind of told us what to expect for the full moon in Virgo, and I liked what she said because she said it wasn't going to be, this is last week, she said it wasn't going to be quite so off the rails feeling. I gotta adjust my camera so you can see my shirt. And it wasn't. It felt like a nice full moon. I kind of barely noticed it, but I definitely felt more like the energy felt grounded and it felt pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed your full moon weekend. I did get to see the moon last night. It wasn't very big. It was the farthest moon. It was not a super moon. It was a moon that was kind of not that close to the earth this month. We had a great psychic party. The members at the upper levels, at the High Priestess and World levels, when you join, when you get a subscription to my channel, it helps me. This is what I do for my income. You are my employers. And that means when you book a reading, it's a win-win for both of us. And you get a lot of help and a lot of guidance. I've got over 30 years experience in the biz. And yeah, check it out. Check it out. Don't just sit there with all your questions without, taking advantage of people that are here that you can employ to help you. All right. So Gloria enjoyed the party on Saturday night. We have a lot to look at. Let's start with the Forest Fae. I think that from what I'm seeing in the mainstream of America, that slowly but surely, despite the horrible coverage that the media does or not covering, the heinousness of the loser, I still think that people are starting to wake up to what's happening here. You have to be totally asleep to not be able to see that the loser is directly connected to Putin, and hence he's connected to all the nefarious activities, putting it mildly, of Putin. So I do feel like Americans are starting to get it. What I'm referencing about the media is, my God, I mean, why don't they just say he lost badly? He lost badly in South Carolina. I mean, I know he won, but there are a whole lot. No, I didn't vote in my primary yet. There were a whole lot of reasons that you can point to that he didn't really win. There are a whole lot of Republicans that are never Trumpers now. Why did Bragg put a gag order? Angela, love you and everything. I'm just wondering if you see how obvious of a question that is. How obvious the answer is. Can somebody help Angela to understand why Bragg put a gag order on Trump? All right. I'm gonna pull a Faye card. Media, they're not saying the whole truth. Yeah, absolutely. They're not saying the whole truth. The New York Times I unsubscribed to because of their misleading coverage, and just, between you and me, the lampposts, you and me and the lamppost. I sound like Joe Biden. But I'm using Biden like old sayings. Between me and you and the lamppost, I pick up really strongly that there are nefarious forces at the New York Times connected to Russia. I do. I feel like there's a couple of writers in there that weaseled their way in that is slanting the news up from the New York Times. All right, so I'm pulling. Hey, Kalani, how are you doing? I'm going to pull a fairy card. Yeah, the New York Times is it's bad. It's bad. So now we're getting to a point where, here's what you do. When you read a headline and it feels like that doesn't seem right, pay attention to that. Don't just take it at face value. Trump will have to pay more to E. Jean. I always go back to last May. After that trial, he was found liable to pay her $5 million. And you guys probably remember this. And I went, after that, last May, you can go back and look at those videos. I was in Maine that day of that trial, where he was ordered to pay $5 million to E. Jean Carroll. And I was so like, what? I saw 200 million. Where'd that come from? Sure enough, lo and behold, he just, every time he opens his mouth, it goes up and up and up and up. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So our card for tonight, our Fae card, Forest Fae card, says, it's the Hedge Guardians. Walk widdershins and seek the land under the hill. Anybody out here speak Gaelic? What's a widdershin? Walk widdershins and seek the land under the hill. It kind of feels like what I was just telling you. I was just saying. When you're reading a news story, when you see a headline, when you get that feeling like, I don't know, that just doesn't seem right, you can rely on yourself to know that it does. If it doesn't seem right, it's not right. Our video today with Kathy and I, our pop-up video, was specifically around Jimmy Jim Jordan and James the Dunce Comer. It's not looking good for them. All right, so over the weekend in South Carolina, Trump goes like full on, the loser goes full on racist. Unbelievable how glaringly horrible it is. And then I think of people like Tim Scott and what's his name, Donald, and Byron Donald, and who's the other? Ben Carson. How on God's earth can they sit there and after Trump goes full on racist in front of the world, really? How can they just sit there? Oh, Marge loves my sweatshirt. Go to the Biden-Harris campaign website. It's a comfortable one. It's made in the USA. This is a medium. They run a little big. So, just unbelievably horrible. And I posted on my community page, shameless. They have no shame. I posted on my community page the clip from The View. I did subscribe to The View. Sometimes those ladies drive me bananas, but sometimes they're right on point. And they were talking about, I don't even need to repeat what the loser said on the stage, except that I'll just say he he said he can really relate to the Black community because he too was indicted and arrested. I'll just leave it at that. It's completely disgusting. He's a racist, misogynist, criminal, treasonous traitor, terrorist. And I could go on. Warren's calling for a group hug. All right, ready, Terry? 1, 2, 3. Group hug! We are the Democracy Savers. I'm feeling it. I got the Voyager deck out. We have our Democracy Smurf behind us. I gave up on the moose. The moose wasn't showing up too well. And Elliot, the Democracy Elf, and Judy, his companion elf, have disappeared. I don't know if they got abducted by aliens or what, but I sent them out to be repaired. But I sent them together. Because I remembered Elliot, the Democracy Elf, his head came off, and so I sent it off to one of my viewers to get sewn. She's in California. Haven't heard back, so if you're out there, can you let us know what kind of ransom you need to get Democracy Elf Elliot back? What will be the effect of the solar eclipse in April on the loser? We just covered that. Go back and watch. We have read on that. Kathy has read on that astrologically about the solar eclipse in April, not only today, but also in previous videos. Check it out. Time is limited. You can't waste it having me repeat myself. Where is Damon? I don't know. I'm going to pull 3 cards about the aftermath, the fallout of, well, first off, the loser's despicable, well, we'll just call it a presentation. He was, when he spoke at CPAC, he was standing there, very strange. He had his arms like hanging at his sides, and he was kind of doing this, and he was reading off a teleprompter. It was very odd body language. And lately, when I see the loser, he seems very toxic. His body feels like it's filled with toxicity. So not only is all that hatred and venom very bad for one's health, we always must work on forgiveness. But he eats horribly too. He just looks awful. He just looks awful. So in terms of how this is going to, what the fallout is going to be. Oh, interesting. Let me read these cards to you because they're hard to see and they're different, but I do like them. The Devil, this is the fallout after CPAC for the loser. Just reading on the loser right now. Devil's Play. It is. It's like rousing up all the little demons. The hateful demons. Fool Child. See that Fool Child? That's the Fool. That embryo in the middle reminds me of the IVF, that whole thing in Alabama. We'll get to that. And the Emperor. Okay, so he's still pretending that he's the Emperor. I get the Emperor on him quite a bit. The fallout is going to be that the MAGA, they're very fearful people. The MAGA people are going to get more jazzed up, more like rah-rah, more determined, more horrible. I'm not saying there'll be violence, but there will be more. I can just see them in their little hives, you know, like their little domestic terrorist hives. I can see that they are getting more, I don't want to say organized, but more brazen. More brazen. But I see a lot less of them. We do have to keep an eye on this. Angela says the loser's rotting from the inside out. It definitely feels like that. Definitely feels like that. Now, does anyone know, did the daughter-in-law, I'm just going to say she's ugly because she's ugly from the inside. His ugly daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, is she still in charge of anything, or did she? Laura Trump's dress at CPAC looked like that Russian green outfit Melania wore one time. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, they're putting it on display. I'm pretty amazed at, I mean, I mentioned before, it's a blessing in disguise. I'm pretty amazed at how much they're just saying it. There's no like, gee, I wonder if they meant this, or gee, I wonder if they meant that. You know, I keep thinking of that Maya Angelou quote, when people show you who they are, believe them. Laura lost, so she's not in that position anymore with the, what was she supposed to be, heading up the RNC or something? Or, I don't know. It's not easy to keep track of all this. Let's see. I'm going to read on how the Losers campaign is really doing. Denied. So she's not been accepted. Yeah, they're just showing us in our face. I mean, I mentioned it on Friday. One of them got out there and said, we're here to destroy democracy. So you don't even have to ask the question, hey, are you here to destroy democracy? Or hey, what do you think about democracy? Or what do you think is the best way to run the country? They're just telling us. And they're getting more and more brazen. It's like a clique where they all know the language and all that. It's really weird. Anyway, I'm looking at how the loser campaign is going. Well, the moon indicates he's stirred up a lot of negative emotions. That's kind of what he does. The seeker and the priestess. Okay, so how that campaign is doing is, like I said, I see them in their little groups plotting and planning. The domestic terrorists, I mean. The high priestesses, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with his campaign that I'm definitely getting that Wizard of Oz, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. He's really working hard on getting people to believe that he has money. So just asking about the Losers campaign, he's really working hard at getting people to believe that he has money. That's his main goal right now, getting people to believe that he has money. That guy actually held up his flat line. Josh Hawley did January 6th. His fist. Sorry. His fist. Yeah. Well, what they're doing is they're making sure that they're rubbing it in our faces. Because remember, it's all about the cruelty is the point and own libs. Nice lives they must have. But the moon card indicates stirring up. That's what I mean. What you're saying there. They're stirring up emotions. They want to just get you to be really mad. If you're a normal, sensible, reasonable, kind, regular person, they want to stir up your emotions. They want to get us all upset. So guess what's going to work? This is the truth. I got into it with somebody in the chat a few PNNs ago who was saying something about the name calling. That I called the loser all kinds of names. I called the Putin Republicans all kinds of names. I call them names. I just called Laura Trump ugly because she's ugly from the inside out. They're trying to get a rise out of us. They're trying to get us all upset. And all we really need to do is give it back to them. You watch Selma and the George Wallace supporters all reminded you of Trump and the MAGA. Yeah, this stuff has not really gone away. Yeah, this hasn't really gone away. We've always had to fight with this. We had a few decades where it was like calm down, but now it's just coming back. We're revisiting it so we can deny it, so we can say no. Hey, Bon Blue, how's it going? So the moon is what the maggots are attempting to do, is get the Democrats all upset. Own the libs. The most stupid thing I ever heard. Well, no, there's a lot of stupid things. And the high priestess is the attempting to hide that the loser has no money. Yeah, it's okay to make fun of him. You know, and I'm thinking this and I'm feeling this, and it's like, I'm going to name call all I want. You all know I think that I'm not a mean person. But if somebody's just dishing it out just to like see if they can own you, of course you're going to dish it back. Of course. And you know what? Thinking of that today, and then I was watching James Carville has a YouTube channel. So I'm listening to him saying the same damn thing. They don't deserve respect. They don't respect our damn president. They don't respect this. My God. When I was walking today and I saw, I hate this. Let's go, Brandon. You know, and I'm looking at it going, what is your effing problem? What is that? What is the point? How does that make you feel good? And then Joe Biden gets up there and he helps everyone. All right? Damon's here. I'm just going to give you a bell because people are asking for you. It's because they don't respect themselves. That's no excuse, Warren. I know what you're saying, but that's no excuse. Anyway, they're trying to hide that he has no money. They're trying to hide that the campaign has no money. They're trying to hide that the loser is cognitively greatly impaired. Picture the loser campaigning in the gold high tops. SNL had a pretty funny skit about the golden high tops. And by the way, I don't know if you heard this, but thank you, Sharon, for promoting me. I don't know if you heard this, but the people that ordered those sneakers, they have to wait. Remember in the old days when you ordered something, you had to wait 4 to 6 weeks or something like that, something that sounds crazy right now? They have to wait months. They're not going to get their golden sneakers until the summertime, if they get them at all. How long can somebody let themselves be scammed before they wake up? We could ask that. They're in a cult. Thank you to our wrenches. That's funny, Terry. You're calling them wrenches now, too. Let's hear it for our producer behind the scenes, Terry. By the way, while I'm thinking of it, on Tuesdays we have a guided meditation for a healed America. Every single Tuesday, it's time to get excited about saving democracy. So join us for our meditation, and if you're signed up and you don't make it to the meeting, you'll get a recording the next day. You called nickname for awful people your favorite. The soulless coward. Yeah, they're doing it to themselves. The soulless coward. It's kind of polite. Kind of polite. Anyway, 8 years and counting. Enough of this. Oh my. Let's all visualize right now. Let's visualize together. A day where you never hear his name again. Can we all just imagine that? Imagine a day when you never hear the name Trump again. It's just not there. And now we pause for a dad joke. Wait, I think it slipped by me. We can't have that. How do you find Will Smith in the snow? You look for Fresh Prince. That's kind of funny. Wow, that was a long time ago. Sharon says, please hit the like button and subscribe and hit the bell. Hit the bell. I have a feeling that things are going to pick up around here real soon. Here and everywhere with all the democracy groups. I had a meeting with the democracy group, the Union, connected to the Lincoln Project. We're going to join forces with the Union. They're excited about what we're doing at Grassroots of Democracy. I feel a time that people want to be on board with democracy. Remember, people wanted to be on board with Obama. I mean, these maggots, I'm just going to call them maggots, they think that they have something going on, and they really have nothing, but they're wasting their lives with horribleness. I'm going to pull 3 cards on, speaking of that, on MAGA Mike. As far as the in vitro fertilization issue in Alabama, I mentioned this to Kathy today. I really do believe this. I don't know, maybe I read somebody else had an opinion about it too, but I really do believe, and I'll check the pendulum, that in vitro fertilization, being taken away, that I told you it wouldn't really go anywhere, it wouldn't really last. That was to detract from the fact that the Jimmy Jim Jordans and the James the Dunce Comers got caught colluding with our enemy, colluding with the enemy, which I mentioned before. Back in medieval times, what would happen to people that did that? I'll just leave it there. Was that meant by the formerly known as Republicans? Was that meant by them to distract from that story? Yeah. I don't think that they ever thought that it was going to work. Because thank you, Alicia. Don't think for 1 second that they're not all in this network where they go, okay, I'll do this and you do that. Look at what Greg Abbott's doing at the border. I'll do this and you do that. So they knew the story was going to come out about, for the second time, not only the first time, that the Magites, the maggots in our government were colluding with Russia to try to get rid of an American president. They knew that story was coming out, and so they invented something that would distract everybody. Yes, the pendulum checks out on that. I'm going to pull 3 cards about that whole thing. Messing with families that want children that for one reason or another, their physiology is not able to do the thing of having children for many different reasons. And so some of these families have paid thousands and thousands of dollars for IVF. And then, of course, the hospitals and the centers that provide this service, it's a service, they had to close down. Look at how many people lose their jobs if that happens. What a disaster. I'm going to pull 3 cards about that whole thing. And they did it. They created a distraction. We went through how many years of that? With the loser? Wow. One big story comes out, he created a distraction. We can go back in our history, in our minds, and remember that. Whenever a big bust came out about Trump, he'd create a distraction. Let's look a little bit more into that. Yeah, this is like the 2 of Cups. Yeah, they got together. They're in cahoots. You do this while you're doing that, we'll do this other thing. It's kind of like, I think of it this way. It's like if there was a thief at your house, 2 thieves at your house, and the job of one of the thieves is to lure you to the front door and to chit chat like you're legit and you just want to talk to your neighbor or whatever. Hi, I'm your new neighbor. In the meantime, while that person is distracted by the person who knocked on the door, the other thief is going around the back, breaking in and stealing all the stuff. That's what they do. They are criminals. So yeah, they're in cahoots. So just know that when a big story, not in their favor, not in the fascist favor, comes out into the news, they will be colluding with one another to figure out what story they can come up with to distract everybody. The Eight of Wands. Yeah, this is going to be shut down. The Man of Cups. The Supreme Court, I think it was a Supreme Court in Alabama. I think his last name is Parker, the judge there. I'm getting the word unconstitutional. That there's something about it that's going to be deemed unconstitutional about that IVF ban. Is that it? Is that what it's going to be? Not exactly, but it has this feeling of, well, yeah, it has this feeling of it's not, you can't prosecute these people, these doctors, because this is as bad as, this is this bad. If somebody's working in the lab and they have these frozen embryos in a petri dish, not a peach tree dish, and they trip over, maybe there's something on the floor and they slip and they fall and the thing crashes and, you know, it's accidentally destroyed. They want to prosecute that person and put them in jail. Where are we? Is this really where we are? This is insane. I'm going to pull 3 cards about this whole Russian spy thing. The Russian informant. Directly connected to Putin. And by the way, speaking of Putin, I mean, it's really sinking in what happened to Navalny. For me it is. It's really sinking in. It's really like, wow, that somebody can be that evil as Putin because he was that threatened. The loser is going around calling himself a dissident. I didn't read on MAGA Mike yet. Hang on. Too many criminals. Too little time. I keep on feeling like something's gonna get like blown open about Putin. We'll see what we get. First, I'm going to read on MAGA Mike. I haven't been able to keep track of what's going on with the aid to Ukraine, so maybe I'll just read on it. You know, I was shaking my head this morning when I was listening to Morning Joe, when I was listening to them talking about MAGA Mike, and like this Christian guy, because of him, Ukraine is losing territory, and Ukraine, more like thousands more people are dying, and he's a Christian. But MAGA Mike's a Christian. What do y'all think of that? What do y'all think of that? Maria says he'll be leaving soon. I'm not really reading on when he's going to be leaving. I'm more reading on what's going on with him currently. Thank you, Maria. Okay. Look, Maria's a member. Be cool like Maria and become a member. MAGA Mike. The Ace of Wands. Yeah, the truth is coming out. The truth about MAGA Mike is extremely strong. That's a strength card. And the Six of Wands is information about January 6th. I think there's not a time that I don't get this when I read on him. Yeah, the strength of the illumination about MAGA Mike is we can trust the information that's coming out about him, because we have the Six of Wands, which is information about January 6th. And the top of this card, even though it's kind of white on white and you can't see it, the top of this card says trust. I really pick up that Putin was directly involved with January 6th. Can we call him Moscow Mike now? Well, I thought Moscow Mitch had the corner on that market. Yes, these cards are big and beautiful. It is the Voyager Tarot. It's one of my favorite decks to read. It's complex, but we live in complex times. Joe Biden was in Utah. I believe it was Utah. Can somebody double check me on that? And the governor there, who's a Republican, sang Joe Biden's praises and said what, if we bumped into Joe Biden, what we would say to him. Basically, it's hard for us to imagine how much pressure is on you, Mr. President, and we so appreciate what you've done for this country. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to repeat that sentiment because we need to hear that. When we think about how much is on your shoulders, Mr. President, we feel how difficult. We can't even imagine how difficult that is. And we're so grateful for all the hard work you've done for this country. And thank you. The reason I'm doing a big pause is because I want us to really get how awful it is that that's not the message that we're hearing from people's lips. It's, and another thing about the times that we're in, I've heard a few people say, oh, I couldn't wear a shirt like your sweatshirt. Oh, thanks for finding the quote, the exact quote. When we think about how much is on your shoulders, Mr. President, we can't even imagine how difficult it is. And we're so grateful for all the hard work you've done for this country. Thank you. Let's all write that to Biden. And I mean, because I'm not joking when I think that man is keeping us out of being in a world war. Can hugging a tree help ground you? Well, I hugged a big tree today. I had taken a couple of days off from walking, and it was so good to be back out there because it was just really, really, really cold, and I was really busy. And so I found me a big tree today, and I gave it a big hug, and it hugged me back. Yeah, and the governor of Utah, he said, I think his name is Cox. The governor of Utah said that when he was growing up, his parents taught him to respect the president of the United States, no matter who it was. That'd be kind of a stretch for the loser, but the loser was illegitimate. Warren predicts that Biden will eventually go down in history as one of our greatest presidents. He's already one of our greatest presidents. Yeah, definitely. All right. I'm not going to read on Jim Jordan or James Comer because we did that earlier. So check out that. Yeah, hug a tree, hug a tree. Dancing Warrior says she always gets a big download when she hugs the trees. Did you hear me saying the other day when I pulled out my tree cards that Tia sent me? That my information that I get about the trees is like their branches are pulling down the cosmos. Read a tree. Maybe someday when it's warm out, we'll go read a tree. Let's look at okay, I'm going to read on this. I'm going to read on all the pro-democracy organizations coming together, converging, because that's what I'm feeling happening right now. Okay, hang on a second. All the pro-democracy groups. The guy who said Biden is crazy has, I guess, never heard the term, it takes one to know one. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. I feel all the pro-democracy groups converging. I know we can do this. I know we can keep our democracy. This election, this year, choose democracy. We need to make it very clear. Just choose democracy. Thomas says, there's a dad joke. I have a lot of jokes about unemployment. None of them work. My grandpa on my dad's side, he was a drummer, and also he worked for the unemployment office in Michigan. I bet he knew that joke. Anyway, did we read on Maga Mike yet? I keep getting sidetracked. Hug a tree, and with 363 folks attending, how about another group hug? Because I can't fill the whole show with group hugs. Won't get anything done. Everyone feel each other hugging each other right now. Maga Mike. What's going to take Maga Mike down? This is the Hermit card. He's going to feel very isolated. I feel Maga Mike being sent to the corner. Go sit in the corner. The compassion that the American people have, the compassion that Joe Biden has, the compassion that the world has for Ukraine is going to win the day. That's harvest and compassion. In the face of what Maga Mike is doing, he's going to be, this is a hermit, he's going to be isolated and alone, not having any support. People are dying because of that little man. Ukraine is losing territory to the evil Putin because of that little man. How does he live with himself? So he's going to be isolated, and compassion and harvest, the Nine of Worlds, is going to win the day. It is. I give it a few weeks. I know that we haven't heard a lot of talk about this, but isn't there a government shutdown looming? I think there is. He's the devil. Yeah, Maga Mike. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to switch the cards a little bit. Do we have any slides to put up? Oh, I have a... Do we have a picture of the loser to put up? Terry's awesome. I just want you to know that we need to make sure that this man doesn't go any further. If you want this, where's my hot witch deck? I'll pull that out. If you want this, don't get involved. Somebody sent me that today. You can claim responsibility if you want. That might be my favorite, the orange puffer, also known as a bottom-feeding lyrefish. It is avoided by all marine creatures since it poisons the waters around itself. That might be true of an actual poison fish. I don't know who photoshopped that. It's great. Hang on, I'm going to get a different deck. I don't think okay, here's a witch's tarot. All right. Did you guys know that Friday it's going to be March? Right? That's my dad's birthday. Oh, speaking of men. Like I was speaking of men earlier. I shared with my Grassroots of Democracy group on Saturday that we had a birthday party for my dad's 90th birthday. And I want to tell you what a real man is. Just quick. I just want to tell you a quick story. My dad, who turns 90 on Friday, we had a surprise party for him. He used to sing barbershop. And he sang barbershop for about 15 years and just loved it. I mean, that side of the family is a musical side. Just loved it. And they would go and they would like go sing for people's birthdays and for Valentine's and, the barbershop quartets, it's a big group of guys. And he had in the past had sang barbershop for this one guy's father's 90th birthday. And then on Saturday, they came and sang for him. And it was so beautiful. And it's like that generation, if you think that to be a man, you have to be like macho, macho, macho man. I mean, like all the magas, macho, macho man. And I will show you a picture. If you think that that's being a man, the men from that generation, for the most part, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that, right? They did not have to, puff up their chest and all that. I'm going to show you a picture. This is a personal moment. There they are. They all showed up to sing for him. And then they got him to get up and sing. I'll give you a little barbershop.
Pass me by one summer day, flash those big brown eyes my way, and all I want is you forevermore. Now baby, I'm not one that gets around, swear my feet stuck to the ground, and oh, I never did need you before.
I won't play the whole thing, but I wanted to show you that because I wanted to show you that that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, people. We don't need this ridiculousness, hating each other and, I'm a manly man, so I'm not going to go sing barbershop, whatever, right? And they all have ties, red ties like Trump. We need music. We need the arts. We need compassion and kindness and sensitivity and fun. We need that. Thank you. I'll tell him you wished him a happy birthday. I think he'd appreciate that. And you look at that, the just the love, just the, and you look, then you compare that to the magas, and it's like, what? Yeah, my dad's a member of what they refer to as the greatest generation. And, they treat women with respect. They love their wives. My parents are still together. I mean, they're still here. They're still together after 62, 63 years. That's what it's all about. Remember when Jimmy Carter, when Rosalind, when she died, is like, they had what life is all about. That's it. And when the loser got up there and said, several weeks later, the loser got up there and said something, when he ever said something about Jimmy Carter, when he was like, Jimmy Carter, he must be a happy guy. What? 90th birthday. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to take that moment to share with you my personal family story. I'm reading on the situation in Alabama. Meanwhile, back in the mud. Meanwhile, back to the mud and the slime. And we're going to finish in like 9 minutes because Midas touches on tonight. Being a man is like, it's just, he wasn't the perfect dad, but, he was fine. Hang on. Let's read on the Alabama situation. What's going to happen there? Is it going to? Yeah. Okay. I did read on that, and I'm going to show you something. I got the same cards because now I'm just remembering because I got sidetracked that I just read on this. I got the same cards. The Eight of Wands, the Strength card it was about Maga Mike, and the Empress. The United States is going to prevail here on this IVF thing. I guess on the bright side, it's making people more aware of how dangerous MAGA is, that they can just interfere with your family planning. What's Thomas saying? Your dad had a rock band? Oh, Cheryl's saying your dad had a rock band. My grandfather had a swing band for many years. He was a good drummer. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes. It was so good to see him sing. I almost forgot about tea leaves. And my dad has a lot of dad jokes, by the way, Thomas. Oh, thank you, Gigi. I felt like I didn't want to bore you with my family stories, but there's a bigger point that was a really special generation. And we don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose that. I think about President Zelensky and what he's up against. Zelensky, before Putin attacked, he was a comedian. Before he became president, he was a comedian. What did the horse say after it tripped? Oh, we have a new person contributing a dad joke. Kat, you have to give us the answer. Oh my goodness, all these tea leaves went to Mercury. A lot of news. All the tea leaves went to Mercury. A lot of news. Oh, Kathy's not in the chat. I forgot what sign Mercury is in right now. I believe it's Aquarius still. You love Jimmy Carter. Yeah, can you believe that the loser got up there and was like, Jimmy Carter must be really happy right now. Because why? Thank you, Miss Annie. That's sweet. Yeah, every day when your parents are that elderly, every day is precious. Looks like a grasshopper. All right, since you said looks like a grasshopper. Not my dad, the tea leaf. Let's look up grasshopper. Grasshopper is in here. 31. If you want to book a reading, my QR code, it was up. Going back up. The grasshopper is associated with a positive time, but do not forget to make some plans for the future too. Okay, so we have a little fleeting moment like the grasshopper hopping. We have a little fleeting moment. Where's my pointer? I'll use a stick of incense. We have a little, where do you see the grasshopper? I didn't really see that. Anyway, now you guys are reading the tea leaves. The grasshopper signifies, well, for one thing, it signifies to work on your attention span. The news bops all over the place, so work on focusing on one thing at a time. One picture of the loser looks like a troll. Oh yeah, he's trollish. And I see something there's definitely a whale there. See the whale? It also looks like a tadpole. And there's a fairy. I see a fairy and a tadpole. We got a fairy and a tadpole and a whale. I don't think tadpole will be in here, but whale is definitely in here. I don't know if fairy's in here. If it's not, I just go with my intuition. Oh, fairy is in here. A fairy means possibilities and opportunities, sometimes in disguise and often out of the blue. Remember when I said this IVF thing in Alabama could work in our favor because it's waking more people up to how heinous the Putin Republicans are? And a whale. There's some positive signs. There's really in the cards, there's some positive signs that indicate strike while the iron's hot. Now's the time to really amp up our power, our pro-democracy power. Circumstances are about to expand. A whale is a favorable symbol. This is a positive. When the situation is good, it indicates that things are about to improve. We'll go with that. right? Who will win the Michigan primary? When is up? Whales are good luck. We'll get to that eventually. Not tonight. The Michigan primary. I'm not sure when it is. You saw a flying dragon? Well, since you saw a flying dragon, I just want to remind you of what dragons mean, because I have to remind myself what dragons mean. And if you guys want more fun like this, definitely become a member of the upper 2 levels, because we have fun at our psychic party. Something may not be what it seems, as the dragon is a master of illusion. Beware of flashy strangers. You can enjoy the show, but do not get taken in. This is also about the news, like I said earlier. The news is wrong. So now's the time to go to pro-democracy channels. I mean, MSNBC has it right. The news is very, very, very slanted. Very slanted. Self-care is important. I agree. Better times are coming. And I want to just leave you with, you want to put up the Grassroots of Democracy info? I want to leave you all with this. Join in at Grassroots of Democracy. Join in us at Grassroots of Democracy. And we're linked up with other organizations. We're doing that more and more. Makes you feel engaged, purposeful, excited, important, like you're making a difference. It's way better than sitting around there worrying. Simon Rosenberg with Hopium is great to listen to. Jessica Craven, Chop Wood, Carry Water, great to listen to. Of course, Midas Touch. We're all fans of Midas Touch. Great to listen to. Support pro-democracy channels. This is obviously a pro-democracy channel. So, great. You guys, yeah, go to the Biden-Harris campaign website for your Biden-Harris shirt. The reason I got it was, well, because I thought they were cool looking, but also the money goes to the campaign. And I'm donating monthly to the campaign. And the Biden campaign is way, way, way up in money. Way up. All right. Let's go watch Midas Touch. And I'll see you soon. Book a reading. Scan the code, psychicannetteDion.com. And it'll change your life for the better. Join Grassroots of Democracy. And we'll see you soon. Namaste.